Nithyanandam Paramasukudam Kevalam Jnanamutim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrusham Tattvamasyadiraksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunorahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Welcome back to The Blissful Athlete, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Sri Nithyananda, ordained Nithyananda Yoga Acharya, and today we are talking all about increasing the frequency of our consciousness. So what we're going to explore today is something that my guru recently spoke on in two satsangs ago, and it was absolutely incredible, mind-blowing, and I'm pretty dialed in with his teachings right now because the night before I was just talking to my wife, telling her the exact same thing that my guru then started to speak on the night before. So I'm feeling completely in tune with him right now. And so I'm pretty excited about today's topic. So first and foremost, if you're new here, highly recommend subscribing if you have not yet done so. Absolutely love these sharings that I'm doing with everybody, specifically on these Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Getting to know all of my subscribers and having these live Q&As at the end of whatever topic I bring up. But first and foremost, let's dive into setting the context for this video. So if you're interested in increasing the frequency of your consciousness, this video is definitely for you. At the very, not the very end, but after I set the context, I'll give you one very powerful technique, a meditation technique that my guru has given us. And I practiced it right away. It was very, very blissful for me to experience, at least, and I'm sure you'll have a very similar reaction. But with that being said, setting the context is really important. And right now, there's a lot of things happening in the spiritual world. September 11th just passed, and by no surprise, there was a lot of movement in the spiritual realms. It wasn't just something that was negative as well. It was something that was positive also. There was bad and there was good. There was good and bad, and it ties in perfectly into what today's topic is, which is basically breaking this duality, this understanding that there's right and wrong in the world. And that's really, once we go beyond that, that's how we're going to achieve and attain this higher frequencies of consciousness. And so what I wanted to start off with is just setting the context right with who you are, who I am, who we are, what this planet is, why are we here? Because we get so caught up in our day-to-day lives, especially if you're living in the matrix and you're not somebody that's living in an ashram or just completely living off the grid. We can get caught up in this dualistic world, this Dvaita reality. And so it's really important that, especially when you're listening to spiritual truths, that you do realign yourself and you take a moment to take a pause and we recollect who we truly are. And ultimately, that is, we are divine beings. We are not just human beings in these bodies, right? And I know you might know that, but sometimes we just need that reminder that this physical matter that is my body is actually 99.99% empty space. The particles in my body are actually appearing and disappearing at the same time. So and these are what's called strange and anti-strange quarks. This is what quantum physics is proving. You can look into your hand, though you could see a particle, and all of a sudden it'll just disappear and go nowhere, or we don't know where it goes. It's called an anti-strange particle. And so this mystery, even about our own body, we think this is some solid thing and it's very tangible and I can believe that this is real. But at the base reality, my body is appearing and disappearing at its own will. And I don't know where those particles are going. Now, interestingly enough, we know that we're not just these physical beings, right? This human body, that we're the controller of the body, we're the controller of the mind. We're beyond the mind, beyond intelligence. We are a state of consciousness and awareness. The I identity that we are is something that's just using this vehicle. And we transverse this reality and we see everything as physical and it looks real. But at the base of it, this is Maya. This is non-physical material. It looks physical, it looks real, but it's not. The reality that you're seeing, the phone that you're looking at or the computer screen that you're looking at is not real, right? So with that understanding that this physical matter, this material that we see in front of us is something that we really can't put our hands on, we can't grasp it completely. We try to, in our day-to-day lives, we try and acquire things and bring in matter, bring in material, bring in money, which is all just immaterial objects. They're not real. They have no concrete existence. And so when we get so caught up in this life of what's happening outside of us, and then we see things that are happening in our communities or in our societies that we either call right or wrong, good or bad, up and down, all of these pleasures and pains, these dualistic things that we're seeing in our day-to-day life, that we see in our reality, they pull us further and further away from the truth, from who you are, which is that you are something beyond all of this material. You're beyond all of this matter that you see. And it's not that the good and the bad and the right and the wrong, the things that you're seeing in your day-to-day life are against each other. That's their very nature. Just like you look up into the stars at night, each one of those stars has its opposite. It has a star that is moving with it, a star that's connected to it. It's not that they're opposite to one another. That's their very nature to be opposite to one another. The very nature of something good happening and something bad happening, they're supposed to be opposite. They're supposed to be good and bad. Life is supposed to be a roller coaster of good experiences and bad experiences. And that's how we have this roller coaster experience of emotions. But if you want to increase the frequency of your consciousness, if you want to increase the frequency just of your being, and if you're interested in experiencing enlightenment, then understand that we need to go beyond these dualities. Dvandva is what my guru has coined this. Not coined it, but he's taught us that this is Dvandva. The opposite of good and bad, or seeing good and bad as opposites. That's not the truth. The truth is that they are supposed to be against one another. That is their nature. But when we look at something or we say that's good or that's bad, that is what's against the truth. Because you are ultimately beyond this material. You're beyond this good, bad substance, this material in your life, the things happening in your day-to-day world. Whether you perceive something as that's not right or that's something that we should be doing something about. There's nothing wrong with being a great humanitarian and wanting to improve the world, but also doing it in an understanding that we are beyond the world. We are beyond this Maya. We are something deeper, deep down, at the deepest level, deeply. We are something beyond the Maya. We are something beyond this world. And who we are is Purusha. Purusha is what my guru calls it's the the Brahmanda of Paramashiva. Purusha is, so imagine Paramashiva is the creator of the cosmos. Everything that you see within the world that you live in, the day-to-day life that you're living, is Paramashiva. The material that you see is just the essence of Paramashiva. But what's holding it all together, the consciousness, the pure consciousness that's at the highest frequency possible, that we're ultimately all trying to radiate ourselves up to, this Paramashiva is what we are in our truest nature. But it's not just outside of us. Paramashiva is also within. What's out in the microcosm at its deepest level, in the microcosm, is Paramashiva as well. And this is what Purusha is. It is the Brahmanda of Paramashiva, both outside of you, but also within you. So when you are able to connect to this aspect of you, to Purusha within you or without you, this is creating like a vortex. This is how I visualize it. It's creating like this vortex. And it was just brought up an incredible analogy last night. It's like being in the eye of a hurricane. The hurricane, its very nature is to just be whoo, 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 whoo. For life. Life is the hurricane, the Maya, the day-to-day experiences that you have, the relationships that get you all high or get you low, get you upset, get you excited, the experiences that invigorate your life. All of that is the hurricane. Everything happening in your day-to-day life. But what you are, the Purusha, Paramashiva, the microcosmic experience of you, you are the eye of that hurricane. Everything that's happening in your day-to-day life is the hurricane, is the matter, the material substance that we think is real, and we think it's tangible, and we think it's the true reality. But deep down, it's not. You are just sitting in the eye of the hurricane, and everything that's happening around you, you can literally just be in a space of sheer bliss, knowing that you don't need to be attached to what's happening outside of you. When you continuously bring yourself within, to Paramashiva within you, to connecting to the divine within you, and acknowledging that things that happen in your day-to-day life are Dvandva. They're supposed to be against one another. That there is nothing wrong with good. There is nothing wrong with bad. They're both supposed to happen. And by their very nature, they're supposed to be against one another. But it's that when we are perceiving it as something tangible and real, and we get so hooked in it, and we believe that this is the very existence, and we just get caught in that reality, that's when the ego mind pulls us, and we get so caught up in the whirlwind of the Maya, in the hurricane. But we have to continuously bring ourselves back and remind ourselves to just sit in the eye of the hurricane, sit in the microcosm of Paramashiva residing within you, and be in that space and be blissful. Now, again, this is much easier said than done. I'm the first person to say it's very easy to get caught up in the day-to-day life and get caught up with whether it's gossip, whether it's something that you perceive that is really bad that's just happened in the world, and you get involved and you invest all of your emotions, and you become just so attached, and your very relationship with yourself is now these things that are happening outside of you. So your energy, your frequency is now entirely dependent on this thing that you've got all of your time and attention on. And this could be your job, it could be your relationships, it could be something that's happened with your friends, family, it doesn't matter. But when we put our time and attention on this one thing and we focus on that, our frequency, our energy, our being gets pulled down and pulled out into that hurricane. And we start living in this world that is not at all who we are, but we're so focused on this, and we spend so much of our time and energy on this one thing that's happening that we forget We need to be back in the eye of the hurricane. We need to sit and remind ourselves that Paramashiva, the creator of the cosmos, the divine consciousness that even science has proven pervades everything, is what's actually making this Maya, this play act out in front of you, this Leela that's being demonstrated for you in the form of your relationships or this event that you're getting so caught up in. The whole purpose for this is really for you to come back in. The answer is always to come back in to the microcosmic experience of yourself. First, understanding the macrocosmic experience that this is Paramashiva. This is a divine play. I don't need to invest and attach myself to this and let my frequency now be at this vibration. I can pull myself back and be lost in the microcosmic experience of Paramashiva within me. Now, when you do this, this is a way for you to experience Kailasa Paramashiva. So what this means is I hope that you can understand this visualization, but imagine that billions of light years from here, there is, in another far galaxy, it doesn't matter. Imagine like this really massive eye, just one big eye. And this eye, when it looks down on planet Earth, when it looks at this reality, when it looks at us, it sees everything, everywhere, all at the same time. It's that big of an eye. That eye, seeing the play of Maya, seeing your reality play out, is the eye of Paramashiva. This is the third eye of Paramashiva, the same eye that created the cosmos, that generated everything, that operates the cosmos and ultimately destroys the cosmos. This eye that's beyond time and space, from billions of light years away, looking down on us from a timeless space, is the same eye that is yours. Your eye is that eye. You are beyond time and space. You can melt into Kailasa, which is, imagine it as the highest vertical time zone that exists. This Kailasa space, beyond all time, beyond all material matter, beyond all comprehension of our logical mind. You can't understand it really with the logical mind. It's an experience. But one way that you can experience this, and I'm tying into the technique now, so if you're wanting to experience and increase the frequency of your consciousness, every evening, what my guru says is when you lie down to go to sleep, first making sure that you're eating a very light dinner, even so much so that he recommends a liquid diet just on it. You don't have to have a full liquid diet, but making sure that in the evening you're having very light food and preferably a light liquid diet. So you're keeping your body light. He even says to have an enema, an evening enema, to clean all of the toxins, because the microbiome today in the health community, we understand the importance of gut and the gut health, and how the microbiome and the brain, the gut and the stomach, these are two brains that we now have. So we're talking about not just, we want to be light and feel light. We're cleansing and detoxifying our second brain with every time that we're consuming liquids, organic foods, etc., but also with having a daily enema, cleansing not just the colon, but the entire digestive tract. We're helping out the microbiome, the gut bacteria, keeping our body functioning as highly as possible. So when you do this, when you have a light liquid diet in the evening, when you have an enema and you're feeling light, you're really preparing the material of your body to its best possibility. You're preparing it for it to experience a higher frequency, right? Because we understand that when something's really heavy, It means it's dense in matter. It's loaded. It's something that is more solid, basically, right? Well, we're trying to elevate our frequency and vibrate really light and quickly. Means we need to be light itself. We need to attune ourselves to that very nature. So by the foods that we're consuming, the liquid, the enema, we're preparing ourselves to be more in tune with higher frequencies. Now, when you lie down at night, lying down on your side, visualize this billions of light years away, this Paramashiva, this divine I, this pure consciousness, this all-pervading divinity that is everywhere in everything all at one time, as far as 1 billion light years away to all the way to where we are right in your bed. That divine Paramashiva, that macrocosm, all of that existing within your microcosm, as without, as within. We all know that one. Visualizing all of that divine power, all that divine energy coming into your microcosm and melting and having these two meet and going beyond the Dvandva, the duality, and melting in Advaita, in melting in oneness, just resting and falling asleep with that cognition, with that visualization, is one of the most powerful experiences you can have, and one of the most powerful ways for you to elevate your frequency every night. This is something that you can do every day, and you will wake up, I'm telling you, you will wake up in a different state. You will have for me, I felt lighter. I felt more presence in my hands. I look at my hands, I'm like, yeah. I felt more presence in my hands, and I felt just more in tune with my body when I woke up after doing this meditation for the first time. But don't take my word for it. I always say, try it yourself. Don't listen to anything I say. Do it yourself. Get a taste for it as well. Get your own Sakshi Pramana, your own experience. But what I can say is, from my experiences, that this has already worked from the first meditation onwards. So highly, highly recommend that for you. And of course, this is what yoga is. This is the union of the macrocosm and the microcosm happening within you. And really, any spiritual teacher that you're listening to is, in a sense, they might not call themselves a yoga teacher, but they are a yoga teacher. And so with this being said, I just want to really emphasize the importance of who you are listening to as spiritual teachers, because what my guru says is there's 3 different types. There's teachers that learn or teach strictly from their own experience. So it means they've had an experience themselves, and they teach people from that. Then there's people that teach strictly from books and scriptures, the philosophy. They haven't had any experience themselves, but they're teaching from the textbooks and whatnot. And then my guru says very rare are those third types of teachers that are, 1, they've had their own personal experience of enlightenment. 2, they are established and rooted in the scriptural texts. So everything that they teach is, 1, from their own personal experience, but then they align it to the scriptural references, to the various yogic textbooks coming from the rishis or the enlightened masters that have come before them, or even their gurus of today. And so those are the 3 types of teachers you're really always going to be presented with whoever you're watching on YouTube or a yoga instructor, etc. And as I said, my guru says the rarest of the 3 are those that are able to, not able to, but have had their own personal experience of enlightenment, and they teach from that experience, but they coordinate and align everything to the scriptural references. And that's what I'm very proudly doing, only because my guru introduced this to me. But everything that we teach in Nithyananda Yoga is about aligning us back to the scriptural references. Does this connect? Yes, I had my own personal experience, but does this really relate? And so I can say without a doubt, if you are watching this channel, I am that third level teacher. I'm not a level, but I've had my own experience of enlightenment, and everything that we do is aligned to either Apta Pramana, which is my guru's experience, or either Shastra Pramana, which is from the Vedas, the Agamas, the Upanishads, these various different sacred books in Hinduism, or Apta Pramana, which is the rishis, as I had said. But with that being said, all I can say is practice. Everything that I've said today means nothing unless you actually practice it. I get a lot of messages on my Instagram or even comments on my YouTube telling me and asking me questions on how to open third eye, how to, awaken Kundalini, how to really get into deep meditation. Everything comes down to practice and just doing it. Like, people want to detox and cleanse, and I beat the same thing over and over and over again. Are you doing a daily enema? Are you doing kriyas? Are you meditating actually? Are you being very consistent with it? Are you strict on yourself? Are you ferocious with yourself when you need to be? Are you really willing and investing your time, your life into yourself? That's what it comes down to. If you want to improve on your yoga practice, the very first thing I'm going to ask you is, how often are you practicing? When are you practicing? How intensely are you practicing? Are you investing everything that you have into your practice? It all comes down to that, actually doing it. And I'm even speaking to myself when I say this on certain things too. This is not like just a big lecture for everybody. Like, this is for us. We all need to practice this meditation every evening. Just because I've done it a couple times now, I've had my experience, doesn't mean I'm done. I've achieved it. No, you need to practice it. You need to be consistent with it. It needs to be something that you're doing on a daily basis regularly. And this goes for anything in life. Anything worth obtaining takes this type of approach, this type of mentality. And it brings up a really interesting point that I would love for you to hear. As a former professional ice hockey player, I worked my way up the ranks, and it became very difficult the higher up you got in the world of hockey. The players get better, the competition becomes more fierce. You have people that just start to fall off. And I grew up and I had friends that I would play hockey with, and we all tried to make it to the next level together. And then I was the one that got through. I made it to the next level. And then after that, so I'm saying goodbye to all my friends, and they didn't make it. And then after that, I make it to the next level. And what I found out was, though, this took more commitment. It meant that I had to say goodbye to, playing video games or just going and hanging out with my friends, partying late at night. I had to drop all these other commitments because they weren't supporting my goal. And if I'm seeing my competition as well, they're doing the extra training hours, they're getting up early in the morning, they're eating right. I had to do all those same things as well if I wanted to get to the next level. Now, with that being said, that means I'm sacrificing things. I'm putting things aside. I'm investing myself to get to the next level, to achieve the ultimate. It takes time. It takes persistence. It takes more than 100% of your energy. It takes 100% of your energy and divine blessings as well. But ultimately, the more you invest into something, the greater the return, right? This is the same for spirituality. People ask me, how do I awaken my third eye? I want to experience your guru. I want to come and attend a program. And I say, that's awesome. That's great. But just so you know, there's various different levels of seeking, okay? You might be down here like, this is my first time ever listening to a spiritual discourse ever. You could be somebody that's, I've become a monk and I'm already up here and living this high frequency lifestyle, etc. Or you could be somebody that's, you know, I'm meditating. I practice third eye meditation. You know, I'm really good with law of attraction, like things like that. You can be at any one of these levels, right? But ultimately, if you understand that, again, bringing ourselves back to the right context, that you are a spiritual being, that this whole world is Maya, this hand and this face look real, but they're not even solid, that everything I see is just signals sent into my brain, and then my brain processes this information, then tells me what I'm seeing, that this is the reality that I'm being told to experience. And with this understanding, who am I? What is the whole point? My awareness is experiencing this touch, these tastes, these sounds, these sights. Okay, I understand all of this, but then what's the point? Like, if I know that when I drink this water, I feel that on my tongue, but it's just signals being sent. So what does this mean? Well, ultimately, depending on the depth of your seeking, I always say, are you having a spiritual question, or are you on a spiritual quest? Do you want to really find out who you are? Do you really want to experience yourself as the cosmos? Are you okay with getting up tomorrow and living in this human body and just going into this Maya, into this material world, and, you know, trying to earn money or trying to, you know, acquire friendships? There's nothing wrong with any of that. But you are entering that world of Dvandva, good, bad, right, wrong, pleasure, pain. You have to accept that. You're going into that world. But if you're beyond that and you want to experience Purusha, you want to experience Paramashiva, the divine within you, experience yourself as the divine, then you need to invest your time and energy into that, towards that experience. But this is a long journey. We've heard a lot of, I've read a lot of stories about yogis and sages and beings that experienced and went through tremendous tapas, including my guru. Tremendous tapas, tremendous release of things that no longer serve you. And the more that you release those things, it doesn't get easier necessarily as well. It becomes more of a challenge. Just like my journey to becoming a professional ice hockey player. It becomes more of a grind, and you have to really claw and just do your best through blood, sweat, and tears to get up to the higher levels. And it's truly grateful. You get paid more money, and you're rewarded more in general. The same thing goes with spirituality, except it's not material things that you're getting necessarily. It's a deeper connection to yourself, to the divine. It's more shots of bliss. It's more euphoric experiences. But as you climb and you work your way through the spiritual world, that is where life is. It's where expansion is. It's where growth is. It's why we're here. We're here to experience difficult times, to experience positive times. There's nothing wrong with having those experiences, but again, getting attached to something and forgetting that I'm this macro or microcosmic Paramashiva within me, and I don't want to get my frequency caught in this. I want to experience myself as the whole. That is the purpose, right? But what you need to understand is that there's various different types of seekers. Depending on where you're at, you might say, you know what, I'm just willing to watch a couple of YouTube videos right now. And that might be fine. Like that there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're a true seeker, and you're at a point in your life where like you cannot go on living anymore, you might be somebody that's ready to just drop everything and invest your whole life into something, into you. Then there's also opportunities for that. Or you might be somebody that's like, you know what, I'm not willing to invest everything that I can in my life right now and just give everything up. But I do want to have this experience, and I'm willing to spend some time in this. And for each type of these seekers, my guru has actually given those opportunities to people. If somebody's just interested in having their third eye awakened or Kundalini awakened, you can have that done right now. All you have to do is type in Nithyananda Oneness Capsule in YouTube. You watch any one of those videos, it is a darshan through his Divya Sarira. It is an initiation just by watching him initiate others. And I'm telling you, it's real. You can have your third eye awakened, your Kundalini awakened, just from watching a video on YouTube right now for free. Now, with that being said, this is like just free candy being handed out, right? But we all know, even in our day-to-day lives, that the real juice of life, the real pleasures and the real gains that you get come from when you invest your time and energy into something. Imagine like just one of a project that you've created for yourself, and like just all the time and energy you put into it. Maybe you did it with a friend or a family member, and then finally the project's finished and it's just like, it's that rewarding feeling. The same thing kind of with third eye and Kundalini awakening. You can get it awakened, but it doesn't mean that it's expressing at its fullest capacity. You know, just because the car started doesn't mean you're in sixth gear flying down the freeway at 200 miles an hour. So there's various different levels of seekers, and depending on your level of and how much you're investing into your own spirituality, that's what you're going to get in return as well. That's how you're going to really bring yourself to higher frequencies, is what type of integrity am I bringing to my own spirituality right now? Now, if you're somebody that is ready to just jump in and say, yes, like I want to experience and really express third eye powers and really go beyond the body and go beyond aging in general and just experience bliss and work towards that, it's not going to be easy. I understand that. I know that I'm going to get caught and my mind is going to fluctuate, but I'm willing to invest my time into myself for now. Then my guru also gives an opportunity for that in what he's just revealed as the Kaya Kalpa Yoga program, which is a 21-month program, also free. But then there's the final program that people always ask about, which is Paramashiva. And I'll put it out there right now. It's a $13,000 program. And if you don't sign up early, it's a $15,000 US program. And it's a lot of money. I get that. But at the same time, you can get your third eye awakening. You can get your Kundalini awakening. They're handed out like candy freely on YouTube. And anybody can go to a Tony Robbins event. He does 7-day events for $5,000, $10,000. I know he has private groups where you just sit down with him for a weekend and it's like $50,000 of an investment. So when somebody tells me $15,000 for spirituality, people drop a lot more money on things. People buy a $15,000 bottle of wine. It's all what matters to you. And really, it's not about the money. You can go to any of these other programs for free. It's what you're investing into your own spirituality, into your own super consciousness. If you want to experience the ultimate, it doesn't mean it's just going to be handed to you. God is saying, yes, this is yours, but come to me. Work for it. Work towards Paramashiva. He wants to come to you. And as soon as you have that true, authentic intention that you want to manifest this and you want to experience this reality, and I don't give a shit what happens in my day-to-day life, in this Maya, this confusion whether it's in my own head or in the good, bad, pleasure, pain that's happening outside of me. I want to move beyond all of this, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I'm willing to get up early if I need to, start experiencing and putting myself in situations that no longer make me feel good, that put me outside of my comfort zone. It's possible. You can experience the ultimate as long as you're integrated to that journey. Somebody just said you can't buy spirituality. You're absolutely right. You can't. Spirituality is always going to be a journey. If something costs money, for instance, if this Paramashiva costs $15,000, it's not about the money. It's not about buying your spirituality. It's about pushing yourself beyond who you are for you to experience something greater than yourself. And when you do that, you will always be rewarded. You will always experience the state of Paramashiva. You will be given that without a doubt. I can say from my own experience, without a doubt, with my guru. He's given me that space. He is giving me that state. And I can just tune in anytime I want. That feeling connection, it can't be broken. The umbilical cord cannot be snapped as long as you're maintaining that connection. And you don't get caught in the Dvandva, the good, the bad, the right and the wrong, the dualistic Maya reality. And the more you connect to Paramashiva within you, the microcosmic experience, or the macrocosmic Paramashiva outside of you, the more you experience that state of Kailasa, that higher, liberating state of consciousness, and you'll experience higher frequencies of life, more bliss, more joy. It's a natural byproduct that has to happen. So I didn't mean to rant on this one today, but I really wanted to dive deep into this, and I really hope you enjoyed it. With that, I'll open this up to some Q&A. For each thing that I've mentioned, once I'm done recording this video, I'll post a link in the description down below as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you're new to this channel, again, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you get notified when I go live or when I release a video. I really am beating this down lately, saying I love the lives, and I'm going to be going live a lot more because I enjoy the interactions that I have with everybody. And so if you're enjoying them too, definitely tune in every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're doing these, and then at the same time, we can just jump into that right now. So I'll stop talking. So hopefully everybody is having a great Saturday morning thus far. I know I am enjoying it. Danielle, I see you saying, please rant. I'll make a note of that for next time. I think my rant is done today, though. And I appreciate all the engagement as well, everybody. I truly do. It means a lot. Oh, Daryl, thank you very much for the £5 donation. Thank you very much. If you have a question, I haven't read it yet. I'll look for it, okay? Nithyananda Nina, Nithyananda Gaurav, Zoran, thanks for coming in. Ravi, Har Har Mahadev, blah, blah. I want to know the name of a song that can help me. The Mahavakya, Om Nithyananda Paramshiva. Just have it playing continuously again and again and again. Mahavakya is the ultimate way for you to just be lost in the highest frequency possible. We all know Om, the initial vibration of the cosmos. So when the cosmos first exploded from this pea-size, element, and it just expands the whole universe, think of it as Om. And that Om, it hasn't stopped yet. The universe is still expanding. So that vibration, that frequency is still happening. So even just saying Om, you're getting caught in the vibration of creation, which is awesome. Nithyananda Paramashiva, the other part of this Om Nithyananda Paramashiva. This is the japa to chant continuously, the Mahavakya, the ultimate japa to chant, my guru says. When you get lost in this space of Mahavakya, your frequency is being pulled higher and higher to different elevations of consciousness. So if you're wanting help, chanting Mahavakya continuously is the best way to do that, without a doubt. Danielle, thank you very much for the donation as well. Danielle is a super friend. Not because she donated money, but just because we know who one another are. We're nice acquaintances, I should say, beyond acquaintances. Mo, so I heard about accusations your guru has. What's your opinion on his... Oh, okay. I'm going to just avoid that one. My guru is, yes, he's constantly in... Oh, I'll acknowledge this. I don't want to ignore anything, but my guru is one of the most powerful beings on the planet. I know that there's no other being in the history that I'm aware of that has awakened as many third eyes as he has. And this is including, somebody like Jesus. He didn't awaken third eyes en masse. He didn't give the experience of enlightenment en masse like my guru has. And to be quite honest, he's liberating all of mankind, all of human beings, to go beyond this materialistic world of what I was talking about today, which is Dvandva, the duality, the Maya, this matrix that if you turn on your TV, what's going to be on there? It's going to be like a CNN, it's going to be a Fox News, it's going to be a bunch of people that get you so pulled into this world. Like, invest your time and energy and yourself in this physical reality. Really though, that's all Maya, right? It's all like everything is Maya. It's not real. It's fake. It's immaterial. It's just signals being sent to our brain for us to process, right? So don't get caught up in this concept that, I need to win and invest my time and energy in this life for me to be, successful. It's all fake. It's not the truth. The truth is you're Paramashiva. You are pure consciousness, your awareness, right? You're pure consciousness. And ultimately the goal is moksha, liberation, to experience yourself as everything, that you're not just this I, that actually you watching as well is also my I, and we're the same I having the same experience. We're not just multiple eyes, we're one I. There's only one I that is having this whole experience. Now, this is a very liberating cognition. And the people that are technically in power in this third dimensional world that we're experiencing on this planet, they don't want you to be powerful. They don't want you to be liberated. And so naturally, what do you do if you have all the power in the world? You're, one of the largest companies. What do you do if your Facebook and Instagram starts to become popular? You buy them. Facebook bought Instagram. Now there's no competition. What do you do if, when oil prices, what if you're an oil company and you want to push out your competition? They're not willing to buy you out, or they're not willing to let you buy them out. What do? Well, if you're Rockefeller in the early 20s or something like that, what did he do? He put his oil prices so low to the point where he wasn't even making profit, but it pushed out all of his competitors because they couldn't survive at such low margins, the negative margins, right? He chopped out his competition. They couldn't operate, right? It's no different with what's happening with my guru. People are taking shots at him because he's empowering you to go beyond this rat race, to go beyond this material world. You're something greater. There's something more to you in life. And all you have to do is go beyond this Maya. But the leaders, the people in power, the anti-Hindu elements, they know this. So they take shots at him. That's all that's happening. But again, to maintain a summary of this video that I've put on today, it's all Dvandva. There's no good, there's no bad, there's no right, there's no wrong, there's no pleasure, there's no pain. Their very nature is to go against one another. Neither is right or wrong. To invest yourself and say that that's right and that's wrong, that's going against you. That's going against Satya, truth. The truth is Purusha. It is the Paramashiva, the consciousness that pervades the entire cosmos. The macrocosm experience of that is also the microcosm within you. That is the truth. Anything that happens outside of you isn't the reality. The reality is your pure consciousness, that you're separated from everything, but in a weird way, you are everything as well. It is all the same ocean. Everything is one, Advaita. So I hope that helps answer your question. Pebbles, thank you very much. I'm glad you're here as well. Arnav, you know more about my religion than me. I just started living it. I just jumped in and started to experience it and live the reality, okay? So I don't claim to be anything greater than you. Just so everybody knows, my phone gave me less than 10% battery. That kind of went fast, but if this shuts down all of a sudden, I apologize, but that's what happened. Tyler Spence, yes, dude. Hey, thanks for coming, Tyler. Glad you could be here, buddy. Daryl started Pilates. Daryl, glad to hear that. Glad to hear your hips are glued together. Keep moving. Keep the body moving. I highly recommend yoga, because not just any yoga, but the intention. You can go to Pilates still if you're feeling like it's helping you move your body, but carry the right intention. Create a sankalpa before you go to the class, that when you're moving your body, you're moving it with this intention. So if you're just focusing on your hips and you want your hips to be loosened up, just be focused on that intention. Or what yoga is all about is the first intention is to experience Paramashiva within me. I'm going to move my body with that intention to experience the divine within me. That is the main intention that anybody should have when they're moving their body for yoga or even something for Pilates. Anytime you're building your body, you want to build it on powerful cognitions. And the most powerful cognition is Paramashivatva, that I am the cosmos. I am the creator. It is all within me. It's without me. It is, everything is me. Okay? War God. Is getting synthetic extensions on Shiva Jatas okay? Yes. So as soon as a piece of, whether it's synthetic hair, real hair, because people get real hair, right? Just like getting a heart transplant or synthetic heart transplant, it becomes your heart, right? It becomes you. It's the same thing. I know that we're not talking necessarily about something as intelligent as a heart, but even hair, synthetic hair, it does take on the very qualities of your being. Like, you have to understand the intelligence of your body, the intelligence of this. This is an energy system, right? A bioenergetic system is what this is. This is not skin. This is not like things deep down, like this is not bone, this is not flesh. It's actually energy. It's a very intricate energetic system that has its own circuits, its own pathways, its own intelligence as well. It has the ability to absorb other energy, to bring something within it and bring it into its own ecosystem and claim it as its own life. Just like when you put dead leaves in a garden, the dead leaves, the nutrients, everything, it just gets absorbed into that ground and it becomes the soil, it becomes the life as itself. These were dead leaves, remind you, but the energy of it, the nutrients, the life energy within it, the prana, is now absorbed into the land that those dead leaves were put. Same thing with anything, really, but if you're using extensions in your hair, that would be supporting that. But ultimately, why are we doing this, right? Your jatas, and my hair is a little bit brutal today, but if I were to tie my jatas on top of my Sahasrara chakra, we're talking like we're just establishing a huge, massive radio. What are they called? Why is it blank right now? A radio. Why is it blank? It's a radio thing, anyways, right? And so we're picking up frequencies. Thoughts are everywhere. Thoughts aren't here, right? Thoughts are just scattered. Antenna, Danny, thank you. It's an antenna. Thoughts are scattered everywhere, right? We pick up those thoughts based off of our state of consciousness through our antenna, right? You can elevate your state of consciousness and have higher levels of thought based off of the frequency that you're at. So you look at somebody like Ramana Maharishi, who was he was known as, like, almost spoke very little, but when he did speak, he was speaking pure wisdom, right? His words, I would argue that they're not even coming from thoughts, that they're just a sheer download being expressed from Kailasa, and it's just like, yep. But when you get to those higher states of consciousness, what's expressed outside of you, is wisdom. It's gold, right? It's a frequency that's beyond where we're all at. Jatas, in a long roundabout way, jatas are a way for us to elevate our frequency, elevate our consciousness, to get and use this antenna of this bioenergetic system, use it to our advantage to best download higher states of consciousness, to get to a different frequency. This is the purpose of jatas, of the matted locks. This is why there's a number of different scriptural references that say you should have your jatas. Tie your jatas up before each ritual, because it's a way for you to download consciousness. And again, this is another science. There's a certain number of jatas. I don't know all the numbers off by heart, but you can have anywhere from 3 to, I believe, as many as 80 jatas, or maybe 108. I can't remember, again, the exact numbers, but there are different numbers of jatas that you can have that help you. And think, like, when you get electrocuted, gee, like your hair goes, sticks out. Reverse engineer that. Sticking your hair out through the jatas, you're pulling in energy as well. And you're pulling it through the Sahasrara chakra. So jatas, and if you're not going to have jatas, the next best thing to do is have a shaved head, without a doubt. I'd really recommend to anybody to not cut their hair short, but that's entirely up to you. Okay, so I'm going to pick and choose here because I'm sure my phone's going to die, and we're actually almost at an hour again already. So hopefully I can answer one or two good questions here. Where are we at? Gaurav, you're right. Only thing permanent is the God consciousness in us. Dan, why is Swamiji having so many technical glitches during satsang? I'll tell you an insider. Story. So I've been very blessed to be very close with Swamiji, and even when he has his satsangs, there's been a number of occasions where we'll be in the Adinam and be listening to the satsangs and listening to him talk, but there's a tech pit, right? Like, somebody is ultimately in the tech pit, projecting all the the different camera angles and music, etc. There's a technical aspect to it, right? And normally those people are really close to Swamiji. And you have to understand, anybody that's a disciple of Swamiji, you're a direct disciple. You're being trained directly by him. This isn't some satsang that he's airing to everybody, right? He does have his personal inner circle that he's training. And I would say that a lot of the times what's happening is Swamiji, I was thinking about this last night too. Swamiji's always training. He cares about, and he said this the other day actually, like he's got his first level disciples, like the ones that are sannyasis, that they have invested their whole life into him. Or they're ones that maybe have just, they have that deep feeling connection. They could be a grihasta like myself, but they're still very close to him. But he's going to, like, that's where he's going to put his time and energy first, to those beings. And then, you know, he has his next level disciples, and then he has his devotees that watch satsang, etc., etc. But he's always thinking about training and taking his disciples to the next level. And it could be something as subtle as a little pointer during satsang, or like something that's happening. And it could be a technical glitch, but I'm telling you, a lot of the times, technical glitches are actually just him doing something so he can give a pointer, or give a teaching, or give a lesson in some way. It's hard to explain, but I know that when these technical glitches are happening, it's not anything but him training. He's only always thinking about taking us to the next level of consciousness, to the next dimension. And that always starts with the people that are immediately around him. So a technical glitch isn't necessarily a technical glitch. It's a moment of teaching. And I've even seen one time where Swamiji will, like, the screen like has a technical glitch, and the whole thing was just so he could say something to one of his disciples, to say something that, like, he just said something powerful and gave a powerful cognition, and then he comes off camera and he'll say something to his disciple and say, this is what you needed to hear, and then he'll come back. So a technical glitch isn't just a technical glitch. It's an opportunity to teach somebody something. For sometimes you'll really feel like the technical glitch was what you needed to just be sitting there and be in a space of bliss and just connect and chew on a cognition that he just gave.